New intro. So much love and appreciation to those of you who have been with me for the 2 year period plus that I've been doing this. Thank you for showing your love and support to the channel. And to anybody else who is brand new to the platform and you would like to support the channel, also, you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you. Federal judge on Monday issued final approval for a $73 million settlement for a lawsuit that alleges that around 6,000 women were abused by a former gynecologist at the University of California in Los Angeles. Settlement with UCLA was reached last year in the lawsuit in which over 6,000 patients of the former gynecologist James Heaps alleged that he had groped them, simulated intercourse with an ultrasound probe, and made inappropriate comments during the exams. The allegations stem from his time working at UCLA's Student Health Center and UCLA's Medical Center from the years of 1983 to 2018. Quote, "We thank the individuals who came forward and hope that the settlement, which is still subject to court approval, is one small step forward for patients involved." Heap was arrested back in 2019 and his medical license was suspended. At this time, Heap's lawyer, Leonard Levine, stated that the settlement was far too premature and maintained that his client was innocent of all criminal charges. In a statement to AP, UCLA's health stated, quote, "While we can't comment on the specifics of today's legal actions, we can say unequivocally that misconduct or abuse is inexcusable. We remain committed to providing quality care that respects the dignity of every patient." In May, it was reported that Heaps is facing an additional 21 felony counts. The former doctor could face up to 24 years in prison in addition to the maximum 67 he currently faces. Now, and this is what I talk about when it comes to mainstream media and how they will decide to portray their own people versus everybody else, right? So, for all intents and purposes, you have Bill Cosby, right? This is a man that, we've pretty much seen for some of us all of our lives. We've seen his portrayal of, the Huxtables on the Cosby Show, and so on and so on and so on. We know the history of Bill Cosby wanting to buy NBC at one point in time when he was able to, and they directly declined him. And I think he might have potentially, possibly, tried to do it a second time. And magically, after those things transpired, that's when you really started hearing a lot of this news. That's when a lot of these people magically started showing up, right? And you had a lot of people basically run away from the name Bill Cosby, didn't want to support him. They started basically speaking out against him. And all while this was taking place, you had Bill Cosby still state that he was innocent of all the things that people are saying that he did. And even still within that, people were saying that he was wrong. He needs to own up to it. And, he needs to serve his time and he needs to rot and everything else. Right. And lo and behold, Bill Cosby, still stating that he is innocent, is now freed because he should have never been locked away at all. And roughly during that same time in the 90s, you have Michael Jackson, who he's world renowned and everybody knows his music from, North America to South America to the Philippines to pretty much every single continent, right? And slowly but surely over time, you started hearing stories that he was, with children. And all the time, you heard Michael Jackson saying that he is innocent, that people are lying on him, that people are trying to assassinate and destroy his character and his legacy. And you had a variety of people over time in the black community decide to side with the media. Almost everybody started to believe it. Like, yeah, Mikey got some great music, but what he sat up there and did, that's all wrong, right? But all the time, Michael Jackson stated that he was innocent. And not at one point in time did Michael Jackson, at least from my memory, ever served a day in jail or prison for any of the allegations, and I highly stress the words allegations, that were set directly upon him. But even still to this day, when you ask the black community about Michael Jackson, you will still have some of those out there that will state that, yeah, he did everything they said they did, even though they have no proof. Even though knowing the fact that you can look up a lot of the key witnesses, right? Supposed witnesses of, whatever happened. And a lot of them decided that they wanted to completely delete themselves from existence, that they are now on heavy types of drugs and, narcotics. And this is all because of the lies that they were paid to tell on this man. Because what a lot of people don't even understand is the worth of Michael Jackson. He stated a while ago that he had a plan to basically leave Sony, and he only has a few years in order to do it, and he was going to do this tour. And during the time that that tour was going to take place, this is when a certain doctor was basically there, and how we all know how everything transpired after that. And it was also stated that if Michael Jackson were to have left Sony, that he would have basically left with half, if not more, money, because of how much of the publishings that he actually owns, how much of many multitudes of catalogs that he actually owns. That again, this was a man who yet again was innocent, and he was made to be a criminal and a demon. And yet the whole world, in a sense, believed that narrative. Mention Elvis Presley and Priscilla Presley first met when he was 24 and she was 14. Their age difference wasn't a problem for Elvis, who thought that he could mold Priscilla into the ideal woman. Going along with how Elvis wanted to shape her was at first acceptable to Priscilla, but as she grew older, she began to seek more control over her own life, which was something their relationship couldn't survive. Elvis and Priscilla met when she was in the ninth grade. Elvis was stationed in West Germany during his stint in the United States Army. In 1959, Priscilla arrived in the country due to the Air Force transferring her father there. While she was out with her younger brother, a service member approached Priscilla and asked if she'd like to accompany him and his wife to meet Elvis. Her father, after checking in with the man's commanding officer, gave his approval for the visit. On November night of 1959, Priscilla, wearing a navy and white sailor dress, traveled to Elvis' temporary home. She immediately captured the star's attention, even when she admitted she was a ninth grader. He played several songs to impress her, including Are You Lonesome Tonight? But when she left that night, she assumed the evening wasn't going to be repeated. After Priscilla had been on 4 days with Elvis, her parents stated that an in-person meeting was necessary. When it took place, Priscilla's father asked why the star was interested in his teenage daughter. Elvis responded, "Well, sir, I happen to be very fond of her. She's a lot more mature than her age, and I enjoy her company." Priscilla's family was charmed enough to allow Priscilla to keep seeing Elvis for the remainder of the stay in Germany. He was the center of her world. She continued to go to school but fell behind, though she didn't take the pills Elvis offered her when he noticed her fatigue. Quote, "I want you to take these. They'll help you stay awake during the day." In 1957, 22-year-old Jerry Lee Lewis married Myra Gail Brown. Lewis had been married twice before. His second marriage had caused quite a stir when people realized it had taken place 23 days before his first divorce was final. The stir was nothing compared to the one his third marriage would cause, however, though he had again gotten married before his divorce was final. It had also came out that his third wife was also his third cousin, his 13-year-old third cousin. Myra Gail Brown was the daughter of J.W. Brown's, Lewis's cousin, and the bass player in his band. At the time, she didn't realize that there was anything wrong with their relationship with Lewis. Elvis Presley, the biggest rock star in the world, was dating a 14-year-old Priscilla, who would later become his wife. Infatuation with a minor simply seemed to come with rock and roll territory. And Myra said later that she herself felt ready for marriage. So, like I said, going back to this story about the judge, what the judge approved, I find it funny how the media will decide to show you how, they see black people and how they view black men and how they try to portray black men as actively going, after people in the alabaster community, for their own selfish gains and purposes, right? But then when it is their own men directly going after those in their own community, then it's whatever it is. Oh, we gave approval, it's completely fine. She's mature for her age. She knows what it is that she's doing. She's an adult right now. She's living her life. She's free to make whatever decisions that she wants to make. Notice in each one of those occurrences that those girls, right, they were teenagers. And the men that they were with were clearly in their 20s, almost touching on 30. But yet that was allowed. It was completely fine and dandy, no questions asked. It is what it is, right? And notice how the Me Too movement isn't trying to, oh, we got to strip them of, any accolades. We got to strip them of all their awards. We got to get their music directly off of the radio and a variety of things like that. But when it came to black men, they specifically made sure to target them. They wanted to both hurt their legacy and they wanted to hurt their pockets as well. And even after that, they were still going after more. But yet, you have this UCLA doctor who directly went after women. And you don't hear the Me Too movement coming directly after this doctor, making it well known about what it is that he has been doing for all of these years, how many women he's directly gone after. You don't see the Me Too movement specifically bringing these women into the public eye to let their stories be known, to let them know how it is that their men within their community are treating their women. And better yet, my greatest question is to a lot of those women who were assaulted by that doctor, where were the men in their families? Where were the men in those communities? Because all the times, right, whenever things take place and they negatively want to put a spin on black men, that's the main question that's asked. Whenever black women are harmed, people always want to ask, where are the fathers, where are the brothers, where are the strong men, the warriors, right, within the community? And I ask that exact same question when it deals with those 6,000 women that were literally harmed by one man, not an army, not a group, one man who worked for a college. Where were all of those brothers, those uncles, those grandfathers, the fathers, the best friends? Where were all of those men to stand up and to speak out and to protect those women from him? And yet again, even with the evidence showing that he's 100% guilty, not a peep from mainstream media, from all of these, main media outlets. They're not trying to portray him as a criminal, as a deviant, as a supervillain. They're not trying to vilify him because they know at the end of the day, if they do that to him, then the rest of the world is going to see them the exact same way. So that's why they choose to stay silent directly on this topic and trying to criminalize and vilify him, because they know what that reflection is going to do for their own image, even though they are not the exact same as the perpetrator. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that stayed in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.